This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio. PHLV Radio. The Asian American Pacific Islander Nurses Association of Nevada presents Healthy Mondays with AAPINA of Nevada. Start the week healthy and right with interesting conversations on living a healthy lifestyle. And now, your Healthy Mondays host, Dr. Marife Aczon-Armstrong.
Aloha! Good evening. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. I'm yours truly, Dr. Marife Aczon-Armstrong, founding president of the Asian American Pacific Islander Nurses Association of Nevada and professor in nursing at Roseman University of Health Sciences College of Nursing. Here we are again on a Monday night. Thank you so much for tuning in for Healthy Mondays and joining us tonight. In case you haven't noticed, students are back on campus. Well, most of them. So students missed homecoming, field trips, classes, while also handling anxiety during the COVID-19 global pandemic. And now they must leap into the future with the school's help. This school year, only students with severe health concerns can qualify for remote learning. And that means freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors have returned to the building for unrecognizable along with anxiety, economic precarity without predictability, security, and academic struggle. So again, the seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen are returning to the building for the first time in 18 months since the COVID-19 stay home. And majority of the students are making up missing credits from failed courses. Some are scared to enter the crowded cafeteria. Schools report there have been a few fights. And it is clear some teenagers are struggling to regulate their behavior after so much time at home and often isolated from peers. So tonight, we're going to hear directly from our special guest about her experience going back on campus for her sophomore year. So Armida Hannah Montana Barreto is a sophomore at Palo Verde High School in Las Vegas, Nevada. Armida loves the health sciences and would like to have a career in medical field one day. Outside of her studies, Armida enjoys baking, biking, and traveling. So welcome to Healthy Mondays, Armida.
Thank you for having me.
So would you like to share more about yourself to our listeners out there?
So I know you, Dr. A, from the OCA. It's an advocacy organization for Asian Americans here in Las Vegas. And I got paired up with you as my mentor, and I've really enjoyed, learning a lot about the health science and the medical field from you.
So how did it become about that you joined the OCA?
I got an email from my school counselor saying that it would be a good opportunity for me to kind of figure out what the OCA was about. And I read that in their mission statement, they really supported Asian Americans. And at that time, I was really feeling like, I wanted to connect with the community and the Asian Americans of Las Vegas. So I decided to join, and I heard back from them, and they were asking me what I wanted for a mentor. And I said, well, I wanted someone who's in the medical field and can obviously teach me a lot from it, and they paired me up with you.
Yes, I'm so excited, and I was reading your bio. And can you share with them your ethnicity and about your mom, your parents, where from the Philippines they were, and what do they do?
Yeah, so both of my parents are Filipino. I was born and raised in the Philippines. My mom is a nurse practitioner and my dad's an engineer. And really, they've shared with me a lot of their passions, and I share that with them too. My mom has been a really big influence for me. She's the reason why I'm so interested in the medical field, and she shared with me a lot of her experiences.
You know, when I met you, you are really matured and grown up, and I didn't realize you're only entering sophomore when I met you.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you feel so far? Do you still wanted to be a nurse or you want to be a doctor?
Well, I've always wanted to be a neurosurgeon.
Oh.
Yeah, that's, as long as I can remember, that's what I've wanted to do.
Wow, it's really a prestige occupation, and you're gonna have to study a lot,
Yeah.
right? So, can you share with us your other dreams and aspirations before we dive right into the topic for tonight?
My other dreams and aspirations. Well, I've always wanted to travel the world. Like I said, I love traveling. And so, especially with COVID, I haven't been able to get out much. But I've been looking forward to visiting other places of the world, like Europe and other countries in Asia.
Wow, you need to stick with me because I say that because yesterday I got a correspondence from the Fulbright Specialist Program, which is the World Health. So I have been appointed for a 4-year tenure as a Fulbright Specialist, and which means that I am a qualified to be a candidate for grants from over 150 countries globally.
Wow,
So
congratulations.
thank you. My tenureship starts yesterday, October 8,
Wow.
2021, until October 8, 2025. So which means you can travel with me if you
Oh,
want.
that's perfect. Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, so I have been traveling to Uganda since 2012, 2014. So I think that's good that you like to travel and that your passion is in health sciences. So I'm rooting for you, and so I wanted to share with our listeners out there, especially the younger generation like Armida, that there's so many opportunities for you. But right back to our topic, we're going to talk about reflection on academics and family life during the stay-home period, especially now during the COVID-19 global pandemic. Um, I think you can start off with what happened to you during the stay home because you just started high school, right? You're
Yes.
freshman. So tell us the story about how you dealt with the stay home pandemic while you are in the freshman high school.
Yeah, so last year, which was like the end of eighth grade for me, when restrictions started and school got called off, I had actually just moved back from Washington State. And I was really frustrated because I had worked so hard to catch up with all my classes just for school to end. So when they called off school, I was kind of just wondering what I should do since, all my days were just empty. Yeah, so then I really started to kind of look outside to the world and look at the news and current events. And I really got interested in like current issues, and a lot of what was happening was like anti-Asian hate, and I really connected with that because being Asian, it's really a big part of my life, and I connected with that because I've been made fun of for being Asian, and with coronavirus, it's like it really hit home.
Yes, I remember that I wanted you to come and talk about your experience with that. We did have a feature, I think it was 4 or 5 series about anti-Asian hate crimes, and that is something that we didn't think happened to our students. And just like you said, you had experienced that, especially during this COVID-19 global pandemic. Can you quick give us a brief story about that experience?
Yeah, so, obviously being living in Summerlin and having a lot of white classmates, they kind of look at you differently, once the coronavirus hit, because they think, once, um, Asian, there's only one type of Asian, and they're all the same. And yeah, so I just, got a lot of weird looks sometimes, and people, worrying about whether they'd get the coronavirus from me, and it was really weird.
Wow, I could imagine how you're feeling with that, with being It's almost like being ostracized, right?
Yeah.
Being isolated from them. I'm sorry that you have to go through that. Make sure that you watch some of our episodes and some of the suggestions of the experts on how to deal with that. Okay, so let's see. Can you tell us a day in the life of Armida Hannah Barreto at Palo Verde High School campus?
Okay, well, it's really busy, I'll tell you that. I wake up early and then I take the bus to school. And, right when the bell rings, I really start getting down to business. Class is really different from online person because there's so many people around you. And, with online school, it's a lot easier to get distracted because you're just at home. But it's also kind of the same with in person because of your classmates, they can mess around and talk in class and it's hard to pay attention. So I have my classes, and then after I'm done with school, I have my clubs to run, and that also makes me really busy. So at the end of the day, I barely have any time left for myself, but I still make sure that, I do something I enjoy every day.
Wow, you're one busy sophomore girl.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of you, and I think with these activities that you have, including with your academics, is going to make you a very flexible and great time manager. Yeah, you can manage
Yeah.
your time with that. I think I wanted us to reflect on family life during the pandemic and how you transition into the campus. But before you share, let me share my experience as an Uber mom, because my son just started in the college too this semester, and I would have loved to have your mom here with you so she can share her experience also having to bring you back on campus, right? Because I know that she's been driving you around, right?
Yeah, she has.
Yeah. So my son has his driver's permit, and he's not driving yet on his own because he has to get the license, right? So I'm the Uber mom. So we have to sit down and look at his schedule for classes, like strategize like what day do I need to drop him off early, and what time I need to pick him up. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 o'clock, and then I have to drive back and pick him up right around 5:15. So I could just imagine and feel for your mom.
Yeah, she has to
Right?
drive me a lot.
Yeah, so I call myself Uber mom right now.
Yeah, but I'm lucky. My sister has been more than nice enough to also pick me up from school and drop me off places where I need to be.
That's good. You have another
Yeah.
Uber sister now.
Yeah, an
You can
Uber
call
sister.
her Uber sister. Okay, going back to your experience, how was it going back on campus? Like what happens on day one when everybody went back on campus? Are you guys wearing face
Yes,
masks?
we are all wearing masks. It's a requirement. And on the first day, I was really overwhelmed because I didn't expect there to be so many people all at once, and it was really crowded actually. And I was worried, am I going to get COVID because there's just so many people, and you don't know who's been vaccinated, who hasn't been vaccinated, or who's wearing their mask correctly or incorrectly. So I was really overwhelmed that first day because there were so many people around me, and I was worrying about my new classes, and it was a lot. But gradually, I just got used to it.
And there you have it, our listeners out there. Our students who went back on campus have a lot of things in their mind, the challenges and the fears, right? Just like that article that introduction that I read earlier, they mentioned about some students are afraid to go into the cafeteria. So, do you go to the cafeteria and eat your lunch, or do you bring your lunch and to sit on your desk?
So there's like an indoor cafeteria, or you can eat in like the quad area. I usually eat outside. It just makes me feel better kind of because at least it's an open area. So yeah, I don't eat inside the cafeteria.
Okay, so in the classroom, everybody still wear
Yeah,
face
everybody's wearing a
masks?
mask,
Okay.
but there's some classes you can take off your mask. For example, I'm in a band class, and if we have to play, we can take off our masks, but right after we have to put it back on.
And of course, when you're eating too, you
Yeah, when
have
you're
to.
eating or drinking water, you can
obviously.
take it off.
Yeah, sometimes I think about that and wrap my head around how how is that? I guess we just have to do what we have to do in all the circumstances that we're in. I'm just thinking about when I went to my church. The first time that I went, I had my mask on. So, and then when I went inside, just two or three of us kept our mask on. So that kind of bothered me. That's why I kept asking you if you're wearing a face mask, when you're in the classroom. So the last time that I went, people are walking into the sanctuary. They're wearing their masks, coming out from the car, right by the door, right through the sanctuary, and then as soon as they sit down, they take it off. So I said, okay, that doesn't make sense to me, so I'm going to leave my mask on.
Yeah.
So you just have to be, I guess the message that we wanted to bring out there to our listeners is just use common sense. Even if they say you can take off your mask, if you don't feel comfortable, then keep it on, right?
Yes.
I have been staying away from the Las Vegas Strip because I heard it's very crowded right now.
Yeah, and not a lot of people wear their masks.
Yes. So going back on campus, what are the things that you can share with our listeners out there? What's happening now that you're back on campus?
I think the biggest difference between online and in person is really the interaction with other people, and I've experienced that a lot. I've made a lot of new friends, and it's just easier to learn in person because you can ask questions to your teacher, and you don't have to worry about, after office hours going online for that. It's just all in person. It's much more convenient.
And I think it's more personable, like you can really connect with other people, with your classmates, with your friends, and with your teacher, right? Because you're face to face. We are born humans. Again, I'm going to repeat it. Previous episodes we had, I keep emphasizing that humans were created to socialize, and we're going to perish, even if we have food to eat and drinks. But if we don't have any socialization, I think we're going to perish. We'll die of depression or the isolation and despair because we don't have any connection with other people, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do it with your tell us about your schedule, like all the activities that you have.
Okay, so
I'm interested to know what you've been doing.
So again, from like 8 to 2, I have my classes, and then once after school hits, it's kind of like a lot of overlapping things. I usually have clubs every week. I'm in 3 clubs: Asian Student Union, International Club, and HOSA, which is the Health Occupations Students of America. And I have an officer position in all of those clubs, so I'm very involved. And usually, I just have to hope for the best and hope that those 2 things don't go on at the same time, or else, I'm really going to have to run around the campus. And then I have usually sports after my clubs. So from when my clubs end at 3:15, I have to be right home so that at 4 o'clock I can go to tennis practice. So yeah, it's really all
you're
just
so
cutting
busy,
it close.
Armida.
Yeah.
But I think as busy as you are, I think that you are happy that you're out there now.
I really am.
Right?
Yeah, it's much better than just sitting at home and doing nothing.
It's a happy busy.
Yeah.
So I think the message that we wanted to bring tonight is understanding and looking in how are the adjustment happening to our students there now, our children who are back on campus, and the adjustment that they have to go through, right? And what are the things that you can share with our listeners out there, especially the younger generation, your age? What tips can you give them in order to adjust easily?
I would say just to stay connected to other people. Make sure that even though you're so busy, you still make time for yourself and your friends too, because they make you happy and you have time for yourself to recharge. I think that's my biggest thing.
Yes, and then take good care of yourself.
Yeah.
Eat healthy foods. Get enough sleep.
Sleep.
I know. Yes.
Yeah, that's been really hard.
Yeah. So if you have to compare your your activities when you were stay home and doing online classes, and then now, how can you give us some insights about how you're feeling then and then now?
Okay, so when I was online learning, I was just, I don't know I think the word for it is languishing. Like you just, there's nothing to do. You just wait for the next day to roll around. But now really you kind of live in the moment because you're busy with so many things. So you don't really have time to just sit around. You have to be on top of it. And it's really great, actually. I much prefer it than staying home.
I love it. You took the words out of my mouth, live in the moment, right?
Yeah.
And earlier you mentioned about like you like looking outside to the world. And it's so hard to look outside to the world when you are in your room with a computer in front of you and a
Yeah.
virtual learning. But now you're out there, we're free. Not quite free because we're not quite out of the woods yet, right? For the COVID-19. But
Yeah.
just be careful and stay safe and use your common sense, right? And think about like, okay, how can I protect myself from getting the COVID, right? First is get your vaccinations, right? I think we are vaccinating already, like for 16 and to.
Yeah, under
Yeah.
16. Yeah. Like the first day that they said you could do it, I booked my appointment and I got
Right.
vaccinated.
So you're fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah. I tried to get my booster day, actually last week, and I got turned away because I'm not immunocompromised. I think it's
Oh.
Pfizer is the only one that you can get the booster, but the Moderna they're still have not approved for frontliners. I think it only for the immunocompromised. Yeah, that's good that you're fully vaccinated. I think um, I'm looking at my little notes here where you were sharing your reflection, and we talk about you looking from the outside to the world, right? Can you tell me more about what you meant by that?
So when you're at home, it's really hard to feel like what you're doing matters, like you're going to make any progress, right? Because it's just you're confined to this small space. But when you're outside, you know what you're doing, you know the kind of the implications of that, you know the effects of what you're doing, and it just helps a lot because when you feel like what you're doing doesn't matter, then what you're doing, you really don't care. So looking to the outside, being a part of that outside, it really helped me.
That's good. I think what you're trying to say, correct me if I'm wrong, is like your motivation to
Yeah.
keep going, your motivation to pass this exam. Like, what am I studying hard for this exam? I'm not part of the world now because I'm right here, stuck in this room. And I think a lot of our students are feeling that way when we were in stay home. But now that we are back on campus, and hopefully, the students, all the other students, are feeling the same way that you do.
Yeah.
Right? You have good, positive insight. Your parents did a good job. in
Yeah,
having
they
you
did.
that. Yes. Any other insights that you wanted to share to our listeners about your experience and your perspective going back on campus?
Yeah, so last year, obviously, it was really hard to socialize and to make friends. But this year, being in those clubs and being in class with people, it just makes it a lot easier. I think for the first time in many, many years, I now have friends that are Asian. And it sounds crazy, but it's true. And really, it's helped me kind of see that, yes, even though I'm Asian, I'm normal, because for many years, it's like I've tried to minimize the fact that I was Asian because, my friends weren't, and you kind of want to follow them and follow their example. But when you have friends that are Asian, it just makes a big difference because, yes, what I'm doing is normal. My culture, you can accept and embrace it.
That's good. That's why it's very important that we have student organizations that that keep together people with the same culture,
Yeah.
same practices. It's not saying that we wanted to separate ourselves with another group of group of cultural people. It's just that we wanted to be able to share similarity, to share similar practices, similar the things that we like to do, right? So I'm glad that you found your place.
Yeah.
You now feel like you belong. And I think it's very important for our students to feel that they belong. And going back on campus is a great start for our students. And I know some students are still online because my son, he's I think 2 of his classes are still online, which kind of saved me being an Uber mom. I only have to take him Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, so I have like Monday and Wednesday as a break. I really wish your mom is with us so I can ask her perspective about being an Uber mom.
Yeah, that's probably, she's very busy too.
Yes, yes. But thank you so much, Armida, for joining me tonight and sharing to our listeners out there some perspective straight from you who's experiencing how it is going back from stay home learning into on-campus learning. So one more words of wisdom from you that you can share to our listeners.
One more.
Dig deeper.
Dig deeper.
Your
Okay, let me
thoughts.
think. I think it's just to do what you enjoy. Just do whatever makes you happy, because it's really hard to do something that you don't enjoy. You can't just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. But if you find something that you love to do and you enjoy it with people that you like, it just makes it that much easier.
Wow, very well said. You are a mature young lady. I couldn't believe that you are only sophomore. You speak like a senior already. But I hope that we were able to share with you some insights, and that also check with your children. How are they doing? It's very important because this transition is very stressful for a lot of people. You have to now go back to your schedule, preparing meals, right, for your mom probably, and then also trying to schedule like the drop up and pick up for your children. And moms and dads and grandmas, also take good care of yourself during this transition. And this too shall pass. We will see the light at the end of the tunnel, but in the meantime, let's keep ourselves safe. And I'm trying to look at what else that we can share with you, but I think we had shared as much as we could. And I wanted to thank you, Armida, again for joining me tonight, and also PHLV Radio for allowing us to share this information to our listeners out there. And remember that every Monday is a healthy Monday. Aloha.
The Asian American Pacific Islander Nurses Association of Nevada has just brought you Healthy Mondays with AAPINA of Nevada.